Hi Year 11s. So today you're going to start your watercolour calligraphic print. So before we broke up, you'd finished one of these. So this is it being all linked up, and then over the exam week I printed them all for you. So you've had paper that's been pressed down with the roller and you've come up with something like this. Now, Miss should have handed out a plastic wallet for everyone that you saw before we broke up, and it should have your name on the back. What I want you to do is I want you to pick the palest one out of the lot, and that's the one that you're going to be adding watercolour to today. You're also going to need a paint palette. So I've got the same one here as you. These might already be in your place. So a paint palette with a mixing tray, a water pot and paintbrush, and also some scrap paper for you to do a little bit of colour testing on. I've got 4 examples here for you of past students, and I'm going to go over why they are good examples and why they also achieved the highest grades. So this was a boy from last year. So what we're aiming to do essentially is to make each section of that printing plate become very clear. The black and white prints can be quite confusing, so I'll just show you the black and white prints from the same boy. So you can't really see the sections and what they are, so it doesn't show the link to mechanical objects as such. Up here, can't really tell that's a hammer, can't really tell that's part of a spanner. Again, another hammer there. We've got some cogs, but it's not very clear, so we're wanting to make that a lot clearer, as you can see from this example. And when we're separating each section from one another, you need to start off very pale and build it up slowly. Think about the colours that you're using. Don't use the same colours for different sections. So we've got the same colour here, here and here, but that is because it's the inside of that cog, so that's fine. Think about using complementary colours next to each other as well. So we've got greens here next to red, which will make it stand out. So that's one of the examples there. I have also got this one. This is a really nice example. And I have got this one as well. You are not going to be getting onto these fine details for, well, at least until after your next assessments. So all of this kind of pointillism that's been added on, we've got some circles and we've got some really fine detail like painting inside here and inside the rice. You're not going to be doing that. You need to make sure that you're following the video step by step, and you're not going to go ahead. Oh, I know I'm talking quite a bit, but the first stages and first steps, if you get them wrong, you're going to struggle because you've not got a spare one. So really take this lesson, work slowly, work carefully and follow the instructions. If you need to pause this video at any point and do a little bit, that's fine. If you want to watch it all in one go before you start working, again, that's fine. So this is my scrap paper here, and before I even put any colour onto my calligraphic print, I want to go over what a colour wash is. I know that I've done this with you all before, but it's really important. Otherwise, if you go too dark, you're going to lose all of your detail. So if I was to pick the colour, I'll go for green. I'll move it here so you can see. So I'm mixing the green on my paintbrush. Everyone's paint palettes are clean and everyone's brushes are new. I was in over Easter setting it up, so you don't need to go and clean anything. So if I was going to use that green, okay, now can you see how that is transparent? So it's see-through. If I was to mix that more, Okay, it's getting darker and it's getting less transparent. And then keep going. It will get darker. What we want is we want a colour wash. Now, I would even go lighter than the first one. So I would make sure that when you're painting, you've got like a little puddle. Okay, and use this scrap paper and test it. And I want you to do it super light to begin with. Okay, it should almost be as if you've not painted it, but if you look closely, you can see a tiny little bit of pigment. If you go in too dark, so I'll add a bit more mix in, and you start off and you think, oh no, it's way too dark, I've messed up. You've got two options. First one is wet your brush and then spread that out. Okay, we've gone back to a wash. Your second option, if that does not work, okay, is wet your brush, put a bit of water on it, and then just place the tissue on. Okay, and it will take some of that pigment away. Never scrub the paper because it will rip. Okay, so once you've had a little practice at the washes and you're ready to put them on, it is then time to start on this piece. So I am first of all going to find a section which I can see quite clearly. I'm going to go for this one here. And for the first couple of lessons, so this week, all you're going to be doing is literally putting washes over each of the sections. I've given out quite small brushes. If you want a bigger brush, that's fine. But just make sure that you don't go outside of the lines. So I'm doing the borders first. Like so. You're not going to be having a finished result that's really impressive by the end of today's lesson. It's simply just a case of doing each section. Remember, with watercolours, if you put something wet next to something wet, it will bleed. So I would actually work in different areas. The next one I'm going to go for is this pale blue. And test it. I'm going to do that. Here. While I'm filling this section in, I will also just update you on the situation with your GCSE so far. So over the Easter holidays, myself and Miss Baker, we came into the art department twice, and we went over everyone's sketchbooks, and we started to do a grade for everyone. Now obviously that's not your final grade because you've still got until the end of May, beginning of June. And in that time, you are going to complete this painting, and you may or may not, we're going to see how you get on, get a chance to do your extended project. So those pieces, this one in particular, can have a big effect on your overall grade. So you need to make sure that it's to the highest standard. It's not something that you need to rush. Okay, we're going to go for quality over quantity. You can take it at your own pace. All of the videos that I'm going to do are going to be on the art YouTube channel, so you can work at your own pace and just make sure that the quality is the highest, because that's how we are going to be grading it, purely off the standard. There is a few people who I need to get in touch with about their sketchbooks, but I'll do that. I'll do that over the next week or so. Okay, so you can see how it's going, nice and clear. Sometimes some of your sections are really hard to pick out. So here I've got rice, and then that goes into barley. So it's up to you what you want to do in areas like that. I'm going to show you what I think would work the best, and that is to do a colour blend with a wash. I'm just trying to clean my brush, it's a little bit dirty. If at any stage your water, okay, I've got mine in a glass because I haven't got a water pot. If at any stage your water is dirty, okay, so what I mean by that is you can't see through it. If it is brown or if it is black, change it because it's going to affect your colours. And also, if your paint palette is dirty or this is dirty, make sure that you clean it as well. So I'm going to go in with yellow. You'll notice that the paint sits in some of the areas where like the rice or whatever's being pressed in. That's fine, just ignore that for now. I'm going to bring the yellow further down. You'll notice that it's already changed there into barley. So I'm going to go in with, you see, this orange here. Now this orange is really pale. It's very similar to yellow. So I'm going to bring that in there. Now you can do a 2-colour mix like I've done. You might decide to take it up a notch and really show off your skills and do a 3-colour mix. So this is an orange as well, but it's quite red. So I'm going to take some of this orange, put it on the palette, add a little bit of water, and then I'm going to get a little bit of this orange, which is the lighter one. And I'm going to mix them together, and then I come out with something that's a little bit more in between. It's very easy to forget that you're doing a colour wash when you do a colour blend. So just make sure it's really watery and see-through. You still see all the nice details from your printing plate. Okay, now obviously this is getting into 12 minutes, so I don't want to take up too much of your lesson time. One thing that you need to be wary of is the colours that you're using. Don't use any colours that are really dark. So even if you're using purple, you can use purple, that's perfectly fine. But you need to do your purple with more water. If you wanted to do dark navy blue, again, you're going to have to use way more water than you are with your lighter colours. I will put a bit of purple actually on here just to show you what I mean. So it's still really see-through. You're not going to get all your sections done today. If you do, then you're working way too fast. You need to make sure that you're slowing down. So you've got today's lesson and you have got Friday's lesson to get the colour washes done on your print. And then you've got your assessment week next week. And then the week after that, I will show you how to then work back into the colour washes and to add more detail. What I want you to do tomorrow, I will set it as a task on Firefly. I want you to upload a photograph of your watercolour so far. So everything that you've managed to get done, just take a nice photograph and upload it today and tomorrow, just so that I can double check that it's all going okay. Because obviously I'm not there in person. Now Miss Daljeet will be there in person. She is fantastic at watercolour, so if you are struggling, then please ask for help. But it's something that you should all be familiar with anyway. So yeah, should look something like that at this stage. As I've said, it's not going to be anything super impressive at the first stage where you've only got washes on there. But make sure that you are doing them as pale as possible. It can't be too pale, but it can be too dark. So if you kind of thinking, oh, is it a bit too pale? that's fine. Keep it as it is. There's no such thing as too pale. As long as you can see a tiny bit of colour, that's fine. And don't forget to upload your work tomorrow to the task that I'll set tomorrow. Good luck. If you need me at all, then you can email me. And if you want to have a little Teams chat about your work or whatever, you can do as well. Thank you.